Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Emerging Franchise Brands Podcast. I'm your host, Frank Fiume, here live at the IFA2024 National Convention, and looking forward to interviewing some folks at this year's event. I have Christina Parsons from marketing.com. Christina, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for talking with me.
Yeah,
So I got to ask you, what is marketing.com? I think it's obvious.
What do we do here at marketing.com?
What do you guys do at marketing.com? The obvious.
Amazingly, we get that question a lot, actually. We like to say that we do pretty much all things marketing under one roof. So we do a lot of commercial printing, direct mail, fulfillment and kitting. We also do a lot of envelopes, digital marketing services, creative services. So franchisors can come to us and we can help support their franchisees across pretty much everything, including signage. And we have our DOT platform, which is a SaaS platform that allows them to go in and set up their through-channel marketing campaigns. So if they're launching a new initiative at a retail location, we can package up the signage, all of the printed materials that they would need, but as well as support their social media campaigns and make sure it's all brand compliant. So they can get their promo, all that stuff.
You're all inclusive.
We're all inclusive.
One-stop shop.
One-stop shop, right? We got to live up to the name, marketing.com.
Okay, which leads me to the most important question. The domain name, marketing.com. I mean, come on. How long ago did we get that name?
About 3 years ago.
That's
so
it?
It wasn't that long ago. Yes.
I don't want to know how much money it was, but I know it was not cheap.
It was not cheap. Don't try this at home, kids. It was not cheap. But we were lucky to get it, obviously, and that nobody had actually used it for anything, which was surprising.
It was never used?
It was parked. Imagine. So the guy that owned it, he'd had it for years and was just waiting, I guess, for the day to come when we'd come knocking and say we'd like to use marketing.com. So it was impressive.
Well, congratulations. That's great.
It wasn't me personally that bought it,
right.
But it was good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you did mention to me this was your second IFA, right?
Second IFA, yes. And so we're really enjoying it and getting to meet everybody. It's been a space that I've personally been in for a while, but as marketing.com, this is our second year, and we just signed up for year 3. So we're excited to be here.
What's been your biggest takeaway at this year's conference?
I think it's so interesting to see, especially on the marketing side, everybody has so similar challenges, right? I mean, from brand compliance to generating more leads for franchise sales, it seems to be that, needing something and being consistent and keeping that brand top of mind, that hasn't changed.
No, a lot hasn't
changed.
Things have changed so much that they haven't changed, right?
Yeah. 100%.
Still the same fundamentals.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the tools have changed, right, and how we actually execute against that, but I don't think the challenges have changed much in the last 10 years.
Right. Okay, one last thing. So I usually interview a lot of emerging founders. Okay. Specifically when you talk to emerging franchisors, what are some of the challenges you have, or what are some of the most important things you guys do to help emerging founders get on the map?
Yeah. So I would say when we're talking to emerging franchisors is helping them implement systems. I think a lot of times, they're kind of thinking about getting the brand off the ground, and we're trying to say like, hey, let's put those systems in place now while you're smaller, right? So that you can execute on these more complex marketing campaigns as you grow. If you don't have that foundation in place, like as you're scaling, it becomes very hard. And actually having these types of programs in place helps you sell more franchises, right? Like if you can come to a prospect and say like, hey, we're working with a vendor, all of this is covered for you, right? Like here's where you're going to go, you're going to get all these materials. It's definitely a lot easier to sell even more franchises, right? If you've got a good support system on the flip side and they understand what that looks like. So, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
That's my pitch to emerging franchisors.
Christina, thanks so much for being on. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. It's such a pleasure.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands Podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands Podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.